Hi guys, so I really like making these videos, but sometimes when I write these things down, I feel like they're kind of random. I don't claim to be a baby expert by any means. So these are things that they don't tell you about babies. They're things that I wrote down over maybe the first year that I just didn't know ahead of time. Random little facts about babies that might help you. If you like mom videos like this, or you want to check out some more videos that hopefully can help you when you have your little one, hopefully I'm helpful, check out my channel and make sure to subscribe, and let's get into the video. So the first thing that I have written down is that if they're breastfed, they can go a long time without pooping. Like a long time. Breastfed babies often experienced bouts of just not pooping. You're like, dude, just poop already. Like, if your baby is not pooping all the time on a consistent basis, they're not like a 40-year-old adult, then don't stress too much. That's easier said than done. Oh, number 2 is that they often forget to breathe. They just forget to breathe. I mean, I guess they didn't do it for like 9 months, but I don't know, there would be times where I would watch him breathe, or I was making sure that he was okay, or he would just be on me and he just like wouldn't breathe for a little while, and I'm like, dude, are you all right? And then he just, oh, I need oxygen. Number 3, they get toe fuzz from socks. I feel like babies' toes are so cute, but man, those things were like disgusting. When you take their socks off, check in between their toes, because he would just have like clumps of toe fuzz, and I'm like, dude, at least my kid did. Like I said, maybe he has weird feet and I'm exposing him to the internet, but whatever. Alright, number 4, I think this is number 4. They're pretty much consistently, always, constantly in a growth spurt, a developmental week or stage, especially at first in the first couple months, and it throws their schedules out of whack, but basically babies are just whack. They're always going through something. Like, you can always maybe try and justify it by like, oh, this is a wonder week, they call them, or a growth spurt week. And it's true, they do go through those, but it feels like it's every week. And then you're just like, okay, well, it should just be like a growth year. Yeah, just try not to stress over it and be prepared of that ahead of time, that they're crazy. They just up and down, and sometimes it's really hard to get them on a schedule, and right when you get them on a schedule, it's out the window because they're growing. Next one that I wrote down is that reflux is very common in babies. I'm not a doctor. I cannot medically explain this to you. There are such things as like food intolerances, like if a baby is intolerant to milk and their mom is breastfeeding, those exist. Then they're fairly common too, but a lot of babies that I know of have struggled with reflux, and a lot of the times they just grow out of it because the valve at the top of their stomach it's not as developed as it needs to be when they're born. One of the things that would help was to incline, put his little mattress on an incline, put a little flat pillow underneath one side, make sure he's not going to slide all over as a newborn, swaddle him, and that way his little body is like this, and the food can't go back up while he's laying down. Next one I wrote down is that they choke a lot. Again, maybe that was because my baby had like feeding stuff he was dealing with, but eventually he learned how to like swallow and control it better and not just puke all the time. Some of these I wrote down a long time ago too, and I'm trying to remember what I meant by them. But the next one I will never forget, and that is that clipping nails is scarier than giving birth. No one told me how stressful it is. I feel like I'm gonna chop off his finger. It's not stressful for other people, for some other people, like they just handle it really well. So there's a good chance that like you can just handle it better than I can. One of the best tips that I got was to use these little baby nail filers. They came in a little health kit, and those worked great because it kept them short enough, but you didn't have to clip at them. Alright, next thing I wrote down is that sleep training will drive you insane. I don't really know what I feel about sleep training, but this is the 4-month sleep regression is real. Sleep regressions are real. Right now we're going through it and he's 2. No one told me that either, that things don't just end at the baby phase. But things get easier. Remember that. Things get easier. No one told me that about babies, is that the first 6 months are the hardest, dude. I mean, they're hard. They were really hard for me. But after the first 6 months, it's not easy, but it's so much easier. Just bank on that and trust in that it gets easier. This thing I wrote down, I don't know that it's a really helpful tip, but I wrote down that they can prefer one side. Very often they can like to turn one way. They can love to sleep on their bellies, even though it's not safe for them. Like my kid, like he preferred to be on his belly. He slept best on his belly, but I was not gonna put him on his belly because I knew that being on his back helped prevent sits. They just prefer, he right now is 2 years old and he's sleeping on his belly most of the time. They have preferences. They're human beings. Sometimes though, especially if you notice that your little one is in a car seat and they're always turned this way, but if they're always to one side, talk to your pediatrician about like torticollis. I think that's how you say that word. The muscle on their side of their neck is too tight and doesn't allow them to turn, and then can create a preference and then can create a flat spot on the back of their head. One tip, if you have a baby that does prefer one side and it's not a torticollis thing and you're just trying to prevent a flat spot, turn them the other way in the crib. So if you always put them down with their head on this side and they're always looking at the wall, take them and put their head on the other side, and then hopefully they might still look at the wall and they turn the other way and prevent a flat spot on their head. Same with playing with toys with them. I'm playing on one side of them and they're always turned one way. Teething can last months. I mean, I'm pretty sure months. I don't know if that's an exaggeration, but it sure felt like months. Yeah, it was like a month-long process, I feel like, to get some of his teeth completely in. And then you never get so excited about poop and toots. Like, if they are pooping and dirtying their diaper and passing lots of gas, to me as a mom, that lets me know that things are working and it makes me feel good. A frugal way of doing the little mittens on hands, baby mittens. I registered for them. I bought them. I'm probably gonna buy them for my next baby because that's just a thing that you only get to do a few times in your life, and they're really cute. If you can afford them, if you don't want to spend money on them, use baby socks. I don't know that this is a groundbreaking revelation to any of you out there, but for those of you that haven't heard of it, yeah, you just use a baby sock rather than the mittens, and it's great at first for preventing them from scratching their face, especially when those little fingernails are too long and you don't want to cut off their finger. Okay, this is one thing that I can't medically back up. Maybe I'm totally wrong about it. So he started getting somewhat of a cradle cap type of thing when I don't know how old he was. He was probably only a month. We were washing his hair with this shampoo, and then just being done with his bath, we would rinse it with the water that was already in the tub, try and rinse it out and scrub it out. She told me that I should just rinse out his hair after I've shampooed it and I'm done with it with clean water from the spout. Maybe that's what everybody does for their baths, and I just didn't realize it. I mean, that's what you're doing for a shower, and it went away, and we never had an issue with it after that. Like I said, you guys are probably all doing these things, and I was just like, oh, I only have a few more things. When he still kind of does it, but when he was just a little bit smaller and we would hold him before bed, we'd sit in his chair, read to him, sing to him, stand up with him, and then we'd just stand and sway with him, and he wasn't 30 pounds or whatever he is now, so you could do that without breaking your back. If you did it and you put him down too soon, he'd wake up and you'd kind of have to start the process all over again, and it didn't take very long, so we were fine with doing it. If you waited until you heard a sigh from him, a big, and then you waited a minute or two after that and then laid him down, it meant he was asleep every time, and he still sometimes does it, and I don't know if other babies do it. That might be a tip to watch for, is that he always had this big sigh that told me he finally gave up. He's asleep. Okay, two things. These are for a little bit older babies, toddlers, or whatever. When you start to give them food, or even if they have milk and they have a liquid, one of the best ways to help them from choking on a liquid, obviously with food, do the Heimlich if you need to, hit them on the back. One of the best ways to help them with choking before resorting to those two things was to put them put their arms up. Raise them above their heads. When you raise them above their heads, somehow it helped clear out their airway just a little bit. Raise them up. It always looks kind of weird. And then eventually we just stopped doing it because he didn't need it anymore. There's still a few times where you're like, okay, he's really struggling. Hold his hands up. You hear about the Heimlich, you hear about making sure that you cut grapes in halves or quarters. But one of the best ways to just help them recover from something like going down the wrong way is to raise their hands above their heads. And then the last one is just kind of a little revelation of my own. I know a few people that said this too about their kids. Babies poop when they sleep. Toddlers often, very often, fill like every nap. Fill their diaper when they're sleeping. You open the door to their room after a nap and it smells. It is so bad. Poop can interfere with a lot of sleeping, believe it or not. When I said earlier that you get really excited about poop as a mom, it also can be like your enemy at times. So those are a few things about babies that I did not know ahead of time. They're so random, so I'm sorry if they were just stupid. But like I said, if they helped you, let me know down below or in the comments on my little community tab, because my comments are still not on. They are currently disabled. What did I do to my hair again? What is going on? I have like wings. Make sure to subscribe down below if you want to see more videos. So good luck. I don't know why I just snapped. Good luck to all of you having babies soon, and hopefully some of these things helped you. Alrighty, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!